As I was an exhibiting artist, and I also was a jewelry designer, and I started showing in a couple galleries in the early 90s, and that was my introduction to showing art, but I studied art in college, so I kind of knew that's where I wanted to go with it. And then what happened was when I was showing in the galleries, I started helping other artists with their work and getting it out into the world and introducing their work to other gallerists. And that's where I found my truer calling. After I had painted for a while, and I had success and sold my paintings, but I felt a little less compelled to do that and just got more involved with helping the other artists. And it's almost like philanthropy, because some artists, it's all they can do is make art. They are just lost in the studio, and that's the only place. And I wasn't that. So it made me kind of question my own dedication to art, because I could paint and I could sell my artwork, but I wasn't that driven. But I was more driven to just help other people, and that's how I got into art repping, and which eventually down the road turned into me having a gallery. It's hard to name a business, and I didn't want it to evoke a certain sense of art, because when you're going to a town and looking at gallery names, you're looking for sort of an idea of what the art's going to be, and that's how you cross off your list. You think, okay, and I didn't want my name on it. That felt a little too vulnerable somehow. So I named it after my twin brother and my older brother. Threw out a crazy number, and they said yes, and I went, oh shit. I mean, I've been in the art business for a long time, and being a woman in the arts, I started out when I was 25. So, I've dealt with every sexist remark, every dumb thing a man can say to a woman. I've heard it. Trying to do business. And the art business is interesting because there's different levels of art galleries. There's galleries that are more high-end craft range galleries, which I would kind of consider myself in that, because it's all original work, but it meets a certain price point. And then you've got your Gagosian and your blue chip places, and it's different sets of people. This section of galleries, there's a lot of women that own these businesses, so that has been in some ways very supportive, and it kind of stinks to say, but in the long run, and if I sort of pull all the experience together, women have been harder and more competitive to deal with than men. Stupid and sexist and not go or be offensive and not realize it, but as far as real manipulation and lack of support, it comes from women. Really try to focus on female artists, because we can be our own worst enemy. I'm reading that Sheryl Sandberg book, Lean In, right now. And one thing that I've always said, actually, Julie Bergen and I had this conversation the other day, is when she wins, we win. That's something that I really believe in, because I have always been supportive of women, no matter what. And it's whether it's from jealousy or insecurity or whatever. Women are harder on each other than men in a lot of situations. Not all of them, for sure. I think when the rubber hits the road, women have a harder time being sincerely supportive of each other. It's a disappointment. It's a tough thing to say, but it's. I would have to say that is a truer statement at the end of the day, in terms of calculated action and problems that I've had along the way. I did this presentation, I was talking about budget, and one of the other board members, a woman, and this was predominantly a female board, said, "You're smarter than you look." Completely invalidated me in front of a group of people. How far we haven't come. More sexist remarks, and there was one example was we were doing videos for the union, so they had all the candidates do a video. Everyone's there and serious, and the guys are doing their thing, and what they told me was, smile and look pretty. To be smart and be serious and be sincere, and realize that has been completely overlooked. And women deal with that on so many levels. And seriously means more to me than anything. It has to touch me somehow. And if it does, then I make the same way we do art in our own home. Where you see something and it's like, for whatever reason, you're drawn to it and you have to have it. You make it work in your home, or fits or whatever. You make it work with this loving intent kind of thing. And that's how how I pick them.
On.
I'm satisfied with where I'm at right now. What I'm doing up a second location back in New Orleans. That's what I want to grow that way. So it's logistically, it's how to figure that out. So I'm just trying to figure out how to make that work because I have a good stable of artists. I've been around for a long time. I have a good following, so to speak, a good mailing list. I've got loyal customers. So I feel like I'm in a position to expand that way because I've got the reputation and I've been around long enough. I used to be in New Orleans, so I've got that connection. So that would be my next step because I'm satisfied with Santa Fe as this being home base. They were so real. I love that era of the arts world because it was before Jeff Koons. There was a beautiful madness to it. It was just so authentic, messy, and it wasn't glitzy all the time. But it was about making art. It wasn't about making an edition of 300 sheet clays, and it wasn't art as product to experiment. And they were fearless because some of the stuff, people didn't understand, and they frankly, they caught a lot of shit for it, and people didn't get it, and it didn't stop them. And that's only because they were so compelled to do this art and live in this world that was, it was, I don't know, it was a new frontier and a beautiful one. Type and I don't know, the artists like Jeff Koons have just kind of ruined it for me because it's so removed from making art and making real statements, and it's the equivalent of People magazine for art. And you have to honor something that's so driven and so real, and recognizing that passion. And I just have so much respect for the artistic process because to know people that are so driven and so real, it's a beautiful thing that has to be, we can't lose that, and we're at risk of it now. Because, artists get frustrated because they can't make a lot of money, and I try and help them as much as I can because you don't want them to get lost in that chase. And with my gallery, that's why I like to show originals, and I just, I meet these artists and this is what they do, and I can say that to the world. It's like I'm not able to be this tier gallery because having been a painter myself, I can't look at a painting and explain why it might be worth $50,000 versus $5,000. I don't want to feel like I'm bullshitting people. Limits are in what I can say to somebody about something's worth. And so, I made my decision when I opened my gallery was that I'm going to sell these paintings that I think are amazing, or these objects that I think are amazing, and we'll put this price on it that makes the artist happy and makes this business successful. This gallery, and I think part of it is having a contemporary gallery, is I get a lot of couples that it's the first piece of art that they bought. You know that they're going to have this painting forever and pass it on to their kids or whoever, and it's going to be this treasure that they found here. And I like being the facilitator of that, because at the end of the day, if I can say to myself, what have I done today in the world? I don't want to hurt anybody, and I want to feel like something positive came out of what I have to offer. And that's my MO here. So you have to run it like a business and be tough about that, but be fair to your people and don't lose sight of what you really want to do. It's like I feel like I have 40 children. So what I would tell any artist and to a gallery opening is you have to offer something original. Be unique, be yourself. So I think authenticity is what really has value now of people. And if you position yourself right, you could reach a greater group of people that have the means or the intent to collect objects. So just don't worry about gimmicks and all that stuff. It doesn't have staying power. And if you'll find a way. Beautiful objects stand the test of time. And beauty is defined however you want it, but there is a place in the world for art and